What the Heck Do I Know presents PM Update with Leah and Mia. And now your host, Leah. Hello, and welcome to What the Heck Do I Know PM Update. I'm Leah. The top stories tonight in our Work Prime segment: managing what matters, how to figure out what is important and sticking to that. Also, humans and deadlines, how one project manager improved his team's performance, teaching them about targets. Find out more on our Work Prime segment when we come back, so stay tuned. Hey, I really enjoy making these videos, and if you get value out of them or just enjoy watching them, please hit like, subscribe, and feel free to leave me a comment. Welcome back. Tonight on our Work Prime segment, our top story is Mia discussing with a gentleman about how he figured out how to manage what matters most. Mia?
Thanks, Leah. The Chamber of Commerce recently recognized Harry Hoffman as Outstanding Business Owner and Community Member of the Year. I spoke with Harry after the award ceremony about how he became so successful. Harry attributes most of his success to managing what matters the most.
Harry paid his way through college by working summers as a state inspector on road construction projects. There, he learned the hierarchy for managing items that he uses even today. He says that first, you manage what your boss always asks about or follows up on. Some bosses will tell you what they want you to do, others won't, but you can always tell what they care about because of the questions they ask. Harry's first experience was collecting weight tickets from truck drivers. His boss stopped by a couple of times a day to ask how many total truck deliveries, how many trucks were running in the cycle, and how long the cycle was taking round trip, and where they were placing material. After the second time he was asked these questions, he made sure he knew the answers at all times, so that when his boss came around to ask, he only had to check his notes. Harry knew after his first day on the job that these questions were important. The second level of managing took a little bit longer for Harry to learn. When he started on his first project, they were working on subgrade fill. The material was cheap in comparison to the base course and asphalt that would come later. No one particularly cared about exactly where it went or how much was used, as long as they were sure it was used on their road project. When the subgrade was approved by his boss, the contractor started putting down base course. This material was much more expensive than subgrade because it was processed and had to meet stricter criteria to be considered acceptable. There was also a lot less of it. Subgrade fills could be several feet deep, but base course was only 6 inches across the entire road surface. In this stage of construction, Harry's boss wanted to know the answers to the same questions as before, but Harry also needed to do yield calculations for each 100-foot section to show exactly how much material was placed in that area. When his boss approved the base course level, they moved on to asphalt. This was the most expensive material and had the most stringent acceptance standards, and was supposed to be no more than 3 inches thick. It was also the final surface that everyone driving on would see and notice how good the end result was, making it the most critical part of the project. Harry still had to answer the same questions he did for the base course, but now his yield calculations needed to be done for every truck, and he had to immediately notify the contractors if they were going over or under the 3-inch requirement based on his calculations. Harry learned from this experience that if you manage and pay attention to the important things on any job, it will help you be successful. First priority is whatever your boss wants it to be. The second is whatever is the most expensive, critical to success, the most likely to be seen by others, or the least of. A large volume of items needs to be managed the least. If there is a lot of something that is also critical, it needs to be managed in groups so that you don't get overwhelmed with tracking things that don't really matter. Harry also noted, over the years he spent on road projects, that he learned certain activities were likely to cause problems, so he paid special attention to those items on his next projects so that he could identify if problems were starting and help resolve them before they became time-consuming or expensive to fix. Harry is humbled by the recognition he received by the Chamber of Commerce and just wants to share his strategy for success with anyone who is interested in learning it. Congratulations to Harry and his award, and we are very thankful that he wanted to share his story with us. Next up on Work Prime, everyone works to deadlines. How to give everyone on your team a piece of the deadline without taking everything to the wire. Get your projects done on time without the chaos, so stay tuned. Welcome back. In this Work Prime segment, we're following a story about Stephen Hale, who's a project manager at Forex Company. His team was always turning in the documentation for his reports at the last minute, and every Friday he had to work late to put it all together to get the report out on time. Mia has the story of how he changed his process to avoid working late every week. Mia? Stephen has a deadline problem. His team was creating chaos by waiting until the last minute to turn in the raw data for his weekly reports, and putting the reports together was so complicated he didn't feel he could trust it to anyone else on the team that didn't have visibility on the whole process. After 6 weeks straight of late Friday nights at the office, he decided to make some changes. His wife gave him the first idea when she told him they had dinner plans with friends at 8 p.m. on Saturday night, but she had told them the reservation was 7:30 p.m. because they are always late. As usual, Stephen and his wife were a little early, and their friends arrived just after 8 p.m. Stephen decided to use this tactic with his team. He also recognized that it was human nature to use all of the time available for a task, and if he gave his team less time, they would likely still manage to complete their parts of the report in the time he gave them. Stephen held a meeting with his team members and talked to them about changing the deadlines. He informed them that they would need to pull the data for their reports on Monday morning as usual, but now everything needed to be turned in to him by close of business on Thursday. No exceptions. Stephen also made up new reporting forms for each group, so that providing data would be easier for them and importing their data into his report would be easier for him. Stephen explained that although their reports were technically on time because they were submitted on Friday, they should be turning them in before the close of business for the weekend so that the stakeholders could access them while still at the office. His new self-imposed deadline would be by noon on Friday. No exceptions. During the first week or two, if anyone had problems meeting their new deadline, they should come talk to him so they could figure out a solution together. In the following week, only one team member had a problem with getting their information completed on time. One of the data collection points they needed was not available on Monday morning as the system updated on Tuesday evening, and they wouldn't have all of the necessary data until Wednesday morning. Stephen and his employee back-timed that team's requirements from close of business on Thursday to Wednesday morning and found some available time or float in their schedule that should make it possible if they rearrange some activities. After coordinating with Stephen, his employee felt better about being able to accomplish his tasks. Stephen told him that if things did not go as planned, he could turn in his report on Friday morning, and they would re-examine his schedule to see if further adjustments needed to be made. In a worst-case scenario, if there really was no way to prepare the data to get the final report out on Friday at noon, he would consider changing the data date for his report to Friday the week prior if the stakeholders would agree to it. In the end, his team was able to meet his new deadlines, and Stephen was able to submit his reports consistently by noon on Friday, and he saved his team and himself a lot of stress by simplifying the process, giving clear direction and communication, showing them how to use tools such as backtiming, and helping them see gaps in their schedules they could put to more efficient use. That is a great story about improving efficiency, Mia. Thank you. That's all for PM Update with Leah and Mia and our Work Prime segment for this week. Thank you for watching and see you next time on What the Heck Do I Know and our next episode of PM Update. Good night. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. I love seeing comments too. If there's a topic you would like me to cover, please let me know.